Hello and good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this Brightpearl webinar. We're very excited to have you here today. The topic of today's webinar is going to be how Giantnerd steered their way to online success with Brightpearl. So we're very excited to welcome you all today. We're going to have a really insightful and educational webinar. I suspect this will last around 30 minutes, and so we're going to pack a lot of value into that 30 minutes. Before we get started, I just want to do a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, while you are watching the webinar, you can submit questions, and we will come to those questions in the Q&A section. So if you have questions about any of the content we're covering or questions for our guest speaker, who I'll introduce in a moment, you're more than welcome to ask, and we'll do our best to get through as many of those as possible. My name is James Scott. I'm the SVP of Customer Success at Brightpearl. I'm also president for our North American business. And I'm very excited to be here and introduce our guest speaker today, which I'll do in a moment. But before I do, I just want to introduce Brightpearl for those of you who maybe haven't come across us before. We are a software platform. We help retailers and wholesalers to accelerate growth and profits. We do that by providing a cloud-based ERP-type retail management platform for SMB retailers and wholesalers. And by doing that, we help these fast-growing, ambitious companies to manage the heart of their business, bring in their orders, inventory, customer data, accounting, and reporting all together into one system, which enables them to operate a lot more efficiently and, more importantly, have great insight into how their business is performing, which helps them make smart decisions quickly and accelerate growth and profits. So here's the format that we're going to be covering today. In one moment, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. I'm very excited to have somebody here from Giantnerd who's going to walk us through some of their experiences selling online. And then after a brief introduction, we're going to spend the majority of the time in an interactive Q&A format. I've got some questions already sort of teed up to ask our guest speaker, but I really would like to hear from those of you on the call today. Please submit your questions. I think it will make it a lot more fun and a lot more valuable to everybody if we have lots of good questions from the audience. So don't be shy. Get those questions in early, and we will do our best to cover as many as we can. Just a reminder of how to do that. You'll see we're hosting the webinar today using something called GoToWebinar. You'll see a control panel to the side of your screen. On that control panel is a questions section. You may need to expand that if it's not immediately visible, and you can put your questions in there, and then we'll be able to see them. So it won't be live Q&A. We won't be opening up the microphones, but we will be taking written questions via the questions section on your GoToWebinar control panel. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce the star of today's show, and that's Justin Etzler from Giantnerd. Justin, hopefully you can hear me fine, and you're on the line. Would you like to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Giantnerd?
No, I definitely can. Thank you, James. Who I am and who Giantnerd is. I am Justin Etzler. I've been with Giantnerd for about 4 years now. Giantnerd is an online retailer of everything from bikes to cycling accessories, everything from your pumps, your saddlebags, selling wheels, selling a little bit of everything. We sell on giantnerd.com as well as on the Amazon platform. High-end carbon, everything from your Dura-Ace component sets to your entry-level road bike for the entry-level cyclist. Everything from your kind of about $4,000 range to your $400 range. We are the manufacturer of Tomaso bikes, so we are manufacturing in Shanghai, and then we are importing in, and then we are selling direct to our consumer. We are not a wholesaler, so we are not distributing to bike shops for bike shops to sell our products. So we are going direct, kind of from manufacturing to that consumer through the shop locally, as well as pretty much to the kind of everywhere domestically in the United States, and then as well as Canada.
That's awesome. Thank you, Justin. I've just put up a little fact sheet here on the screen, which is some of the highlights about Giantnerd and some of the explosive growth they've had over the last few years. You'll be hearing more about some of this as we get into the questions. But as Justin talked about, majority of the sales coming through Amazon and on also their own website. So that's what we're really going to dig into, is kind of how these online channels work, what are the opportunities and the challenges that they bring, hear about some of Justin's experiences, maybe hear about some of the mistakes and things that he's made that hopefully you guys, if you're interested in that channel, can avoid in the future. So without further ado, let's get into our first question. And again, everybody, welcome to submit your own questions through the questions panel on GoToWebinar. I'm just going to ask, to start off, kind of what inspired you initially to start using the online channels for sales? What inspired you to start selling online?
Gosh, well, online versus local retailers in store, you just have a much larger customer base. You can reach all the states. You can reach everywhere in America. You can reach, and if you're an international seller, you can reach internationally. Us as the manufacturer of these bikes, it is hard to kind of build your brand reach if you're only selling locally. So how do you? I guess we're a company that's based out of Denver, Colorado, which is a very big cycling mecca. So a number of our sales are based, here in Denver. But we also want to continue to build that brand, and one of the ways we do that is pushing our sales online. We can reach, the East Coast, we can reach the West Coast. We can really, take our brand and build it from a larger standpoint when you get into the online, area of selling. So that's probably the biggest part, is just the ability to build our brand at a faster rate and then at a larger, just across the United States.
Got it. So it's all about kind of reaching a larger, addressable market, building a national brand rather than just a kind of a local brand, which makes a lot of sense, right? There's a lot of opportunity out there, and I can see kind of the attraction of that. But I guess leading on to the second question here, that must have been you must have had some concerns before you started out down that path. And what kind of was top of your mind as you thought about executing on that strategy? What were the sort of potential roadblocks that you were worried about?
Gosh, when you talk about that, there's a whole monster in online that is different from your local sales platform. So if you are, say, a salesperson and a customer walks into your shop and they can look at your product, they can touch your product, they can ask their questions to you directly, you can, have the product right in front of you and you can sell to them. And, easier as a salesperson than, me being online and trying to sell to someone who is just reading my listing on the website, looking at the picture that I've taken. Sometimes, you have limitations based on the number of pictures that you can take and really how much you can highlight that product. Everything that you're really telling them from a salesperson perspective comes in your ability to write and translate that in your bullet points, in your descriptions. And so, that's the hardest part. How do you, as a salesperson, sell when you don't have the customer right in front of you? And how do you kind of gain their trust, especially on some of the higher value bikes that we sell? How do you do that? Is really the biggest concern. So kind of what we've done online is we really strive to, again, take the best pictures, have the best listings, have the most information from sizing to specifications and that type of thing. And there's a number of different ways you can really do that, but and the hardest part is really just being as open as you can and having the best information online.
Yeah, you hit on a really interesting point there, which is the sort of the amount that somebody's willing to pay when they haven't actually seen or touched the product. And I think often channels like Amazon are a little bit more transactional. You know exactly what you want. You just go and buy it. So you've obviously managed to sell higher value items via a channel that maybe doesn't immediately lend itself to that. What sort of do you find yourself? You tell us a bit about the premium, the top of the range bikes that you've sold on Amazon. How do you find you have kind of contact with the customer at any point in the sales cycle, either before or after the sale?
No, definitely so. Amazon is going to be a little bit different when you're talking about your higher end bikes than say our sales channel, Giantnerd. On Giantnerd, we have a chat function as well as Monday through Friday phone support. So anyone who is maybe buying that higher value item can call in, talk to a customer service specialist, can chat with that customer service specialist, pretty much all day, and get any questions that they have answered and any concerns that they have about that bike really addressed. With Amazon, it's a little different where a little bit more of your Amazon customer is one, it's a little bit more of your lower end customer, more of your entry level customer. So yes, sales for our higher end bikes are more directly on Giantnerd than they are on Amazon, just because of that factor where typically your higher end customer is doing a little bit more research, asking a few more questions, and then we do our kind of more of our lower end bikes on Amazon. And there's also a Q&A on Amazon where as a branded product or a private label product that we manufacture, we are answering those questions on Amazon. And then we also get people who are calling in to Amazon as an Amazon customer, calls the company, and then turns around and goes back to Amazon to buy it. So they still have the ability to contact us. They still have the ability to ask questions. Just not maybe as more. Typically you get your higher end customers buying directly from the site than they do from the Amazon channel.
Interesting. And do you ever see Amazon acting kind of as a lead source where they see you on Amazon, maybe they come to you over the phone and then they buy from you directly?
No, definitely very frequently that does happen because they'll see it on Amazon. That's kind of brings them to us, and then after they've talked to us on the phone, they realize maybe some of the policies that we have on Amazon for maybe like a ready-to-ride service. We can build a bike and tune it and ship it to them built from our site, but we cannot do that from Amazon because Amazon is not going to allow us to provide that build service on their website. We can only sell the product kind of out of the box, and that's about an hour and a half service where our technicians are going to pull it out of that box and really set everything to torque specifications and true your wheels, that type of thing.
Got it. Interesting. Very cool. So just talking a little bit more about Amazon and marketplaces, what pricing obviously is a big part of any strategy for selling through marketplaces. How do you find, how do you kind of think about pricing? And I guess it maybe differs between kind of your bike products and maybe some of accessories and things like that. Is it very price competitive? How much does your price point vary between channel, for example, between Amazon and your website, if at all?
No, definitely. So, really good question on that one. So, two sides to that. You have your Amazon sales channel, and you have your Giantnerd sales channel, and then you have, again, within that, you have your bikes, and then your smaller accessories. Bikes for us, the pricing on Amazon for private label products, they have a rule where your pricing on Amazon has to be the same as the pricing on the website. Bikes, whether it's the low end or the high end, is priced the same way on Amazon as it is on Giantnerd, with the exception of the fact that I can't offer that build service on my website where I can on Amazon. So that's kind of standard set across the board. When then you look at the smaller accessories, there are, I guess, a lot of challenges and a lot of differences when it comes to that end. Branded products versus private label products. A branded product just being, say, something like a very well-known name, say Crocs. That's a branded product. I didn't manufacture that product. So if I was carrying Crocs shoes, or Crocs sandals, I'm selling their product. Private label is kind of what our bikes is. We are the manufacturer. We brought that in. We are selling our product. So for private label products, I'm pretty much the only seller on Amazon. I'm not competing with anybody else. I am it is my product. No one else is selling it, so I don't have to compete with price. I set the price, and it stays that price. Branded products, where you can have maybe multiple sellers of that product, is then where it gets tricky. Amazon is kind of the leading culprit in, I guess, cheaper prices online. You can find a really, really good deal on Amazon. You get a lot of retailers now who are having a problem because they're selling a product at, a certain price point, and then you look on Amazon or you look on the internet and you can find it, $15 cheaper. And so kind of the difficulty there is with Amazon and smaller accessories is people dragging the price down as they are competing with other sellers on the internet. So, what companies have really started doing is implementing MAP policies, and MAP policy is basically just a minimum advertised pricing. And what that says is basically you cannot sell this product online below this price, or advertise it, more specifically, advertise that price. That way, you're addressing the concerns of local retailers who are selling it at this price and have been selling at this price, just brought their price down and losing that customer to go to Amazon to just buy it and then prime fill it and get it to their house in 2 days. So yes, price competition on Amazon is very, I guess, a very real thing. When you talk about it in that sense, I guess I'm losing it here for a second, but yes, companies, when you get multiple sellers of product, bring that price down and keep bringing it down, so you have higher volume, smaller margins. But kind of to combat that, companies are now implementing MAP policies to bring that price back up and keep their value of their brand higher. Yeah, if that made any sense at all.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. And I think Amazon has it's a great sales channel, and it's also a great way to kind of establish a relationship with the customer, which hopefully, if you can impress them with the experience they've had on Amazon, then they'll buy from you again, whether it's on Amazon or directly. So it's an important channel, but your strategy, your pricing strategy, it seems differs based on own brand versus third-party brands that you're purchasing, and then also maybe based on the sort of the price of the product. The sort of smaller, cheaper accessories may be different to a larger bike. So can we just talk a little bit about fees on Amazon, because I know Amazon obviously charge fees for the job that they do, quite rightly. How do you cope with fees? How do you manage your fees selling on marketplaces like Amazon?
No, definitely so. So Amazon, and really what I like about Brightpearl is actually the way it connects with the orders and the fees that Amazon does charge. Amazon's base commission rate for the, I guess, lead of that sale is 15%. So if I sell something for $100, I'm only getting $85 because Amazon's taking their 15% fee. Now, if you prime fulfill, where you use fulfillment by Amazon, in which Amazon is fulfilling that product with 2-day shipping and managing all the customer service, managing the fulfillment of the product. You also then have, I guess, pick and pack fees, per order fulfillment fees, and small fees that are attached basically in saying that Amazon is doing all the work versus me doing all the work for that product. And we do that as well, and we calculate those fees in. Brightpearl is very good about, say I sell that $100 pair of shoes, that order will push down in, and Amazon will, I guess in our case, some companies, they'll pay out every 2 weeks. Our case is we get paid out by Amazon every week. But when that payout comes out, Brightpearl will then divide up, in each individual order. That $100 pair of shoes is one order, maybe a pair of pedals is a $50 pair of pedals, a couple days later. Well, Brightpearl will break out the fees and then the cost of goods of the product and really attach that to each individual order. So every single order has multiple accounting transactions attached to it, and Brightpearl does a very good job with that. So when you really account in, the commission fee from Amazon, as well as some of the FBA fees and kind of some of the fees with shipping your products and inventory placement at their warehouses, it really ends up coming out to about 20%, 19.5 to 20 after you calculate everything else past that if you're doing FBA. And we do a number of our products through fulfillment by Amazon. So when you look at the fees associated with that, it really comes out to a little bit higher than the 15%.
Yeah,
but
and maybe we could just talk. Sorry to interrupt, Justin, but maybe we should just clarify what FBA is, because I think some of the people may not be familiar with the concept. Basically, Amazon are taking you're shipping your products in bulk to an Amazon warehouse where they sit, and then when they sell, Amazon takes care of the fulfillment and the shipping. So that's, you're saving you warehousing, overhead costs, staff costs, and shipment costs as well.
No, definitely so. They're also going to manage the returns. So, typically if that person buys a pair of shoes, that shoe doesn't fit, well, Amazon or that customer is not sending it back to me. They're sending it back to the warehouse that originally sent it to them. And there are also fees associated with returns. And again, Brightpearl does a very good job in calculating fees, and it all pushes down in a very similar way. It's an XML file that comes in, and Brightpearl reads it. I don't have to really manage that specifically. I can just kind of watch over it as it happens, which is, again, saves me time, saves me money.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So what are the challenges? Would you kind of had to sit down with somebody who's, about to start selling online. What else do you think you would, or what would you tell, what would you wish someone had said to you before you started? Kind of, what are the challenges you're likely to face? They're not insurmountable, but things that you just need to be aware of and maybe have a plan for.
Gosh, yeah, no, the list is long, and we could go on for a long time just on that one. Inventory levels, so I have an Amazon warehouse where I have Amazon inventory sitting over there waiting for them to fulfill. I have inventory at my kind of Denver warehouse here. I have a warehouse that is maybe used damaged products, maybe if a shoe gets damaged or a bike gets damaged. And then I have inventory sitting over in our kind of manufacturing factory. So, how do you take all that and put it into one place? And again, the answer comes back to the Brightpearl stuff. I have 5 different warehouses set up in Brightpearl, and the inventory is all kind of in one place. I can look at it from kind of on one screen, and then if I sell something on, say, my Giantnerd website, and that's the last product, well, so that product sells, and the order kind of goes down, and then a couple minutes after that, then Brightpearl pushes out to all the other sales channels to say that this product is gone. And so I won't sell that product on Amazon, or I won't sell that product on eBay, or I won't sell that product, in some locally, because the inventory has already been allocated. And it really does a very fine job of that as well. As long as you have good product inventory SKUs across all your channels and they match up and if they sync, then you'll be good to go.
Got it. So inventory and stock level seems like a pretty big one. I guess the more sales channels you have as well, the complexity grows. And each sales channel has its own specific challenges and opportunities as well, upside as well, but also things that you just kind of have to watch out for. I think we talked a lot about Amazon so far, but let's talk a bit maybe about the website and kind of what value do you see in having the website, and how does it differ from Amazon for you as a sales channel?
Well, Amazon for us is the volume. It's the smaller access. Our ultimate goal in who we are and what we do is the Tomaso brand. Tomaso being the what we manufacture, what we take pride in. High value bikes to entry level bikes. I guess 5 years down the road, whether it be 5 years or shorter than that, I'd love to sell Tomaso bikes directly on Tomaso USA. Just that website and be a branded website where that customer can come and buy that product. It has not happened yet, but it is something that we're still looking on doing. So I guess when you talk about what Giantnerd is to me, Giantnerd is the base. Giantnerd is kind of, yes, we sell a little bit of everything, but right now the primary sales channel for Tomaso Bikes, and then Tomaso Bikes being the ultimate goal, and what we're trying to do as a company is build a build a bike brand that's nationally recognized. Amazon is just another sales channel on top of that, kind of almost a different side of the business than it is kind of the majority of the business. Yes, majority being because it is the volume, but the bikes are, I guess, the true focus, the true goal.
Right. So I guess it's helping get your current brand in front of more people. It's providing you the volume and sort of the working capital, the profit to kind of power the development of your bigger vision, which is your own brand that over time will draw people directly to your own branded website, which I imagine is a much more, building a brand takes time, but ultimately the rewards are considerable.
Definitely so.
Yeah, awesome. So, we've covered some of these questions. So I got a question that actually from one of our participants, which I'd just like to ask, which is a little bit about kind of some bike companies apparently don't allow their bikes to be sold on Amazon, and some of those bike companies are the bike companies that kind of want their bikes being sold through retail brick and mortar stores. So do you think that they should be continuing kind of that type of policy, or do you think they should kind of drop those restrictions and kind of more embrace Amazon and eBay and allow their products to be sold through those channels?
It really depends on, and it's a great question, and I'll bring it back to what Trek is doing right now. Trek has just started in the last month, Trek being one of the largest bike companies kind of, I guess, in the world, a number of sales here, but they are a worldwide company. They do not sell online, and the reasons is when you go to a bike shop and you have that tech sitting right in front of you, you can answer all those questions. You can get any adjustments made right then and there, a shorter stem put on, a longer stem put on to fit that bike to that customer. And definitely, I could see it, the argument in that it increases your brand quality, but it also in that increases cost. What makes me have the ability to sell a full Dura-Ace bike, below $4,000, that's, under 14 pounds. It's because we are the manufacturer and then we're selling to the consumer. I don't have to pay distribution. I don't have to, one, is the bike company make my margin, and then two, the bike shop has to make their margin. What they're doing is worked for a very long time. The internet it has come on, and it's added competition in a different way that they haven't seen before. I've even noticed in the 4 years that I've been with Giantnerd and Tomaso Bikes that you're starting to see even a little bit lower prices from kind of those larger companies, maybe to compete with the online industry that has come about, and the smaller manufacturers that are creating quality products that can compete. So yes, they are getting into it from an online standpoint, directly for them selling on sales channels like Amazon and then direct to their consumers from their website. They are coming in that direction, but they haven't gone that far yet. I probably won't ever see them selling on Amazon, but that's just kind of the nature of who they are and what they do. They're big enough where they don't have to have that, bringing in extra customers online when they already have the brand awareness.
Got it. Thank you. We've got another question here about kind of eBay versus Amazon. Have you personally do you sell your products on eBay right now?
We sell a smaller number of them. More the, I guess, product that is maybe out of the box, slightly damaged. eBay is a little bit different of a sales channel than Amazon. Amazon's more of a, you have to have a UPC, it's got to be retail packaged, and it's, that type of product where it's, you sell used stuff on Amazon, but it's not in the same way that you can sell kind of maybe slightly open product, open packaging and that type of thing on eBay. eBay is more of a your own customer picture, your own pictures versus Amazon, which is white background, studio type pictures. We do use it. The nice thing about eBay versus Amazon, Brightpearl pushes products to eBay. So if you have complete information in your Brightpearl product listing, you click a couple buttons and then it's automatically listed on your eBay sales channel. It is not the same way with Amazon, where you kind of have to manually go into Amazon to list those products on Amazon versus eBay.
So eBay kind of for you is more of a sort of clearance channel.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah, and less of a kind of. So I'm guessing, I think, in terms of looking at the cost of selling on both channels, do they, fees wise, cost of doing business wise, do they roughly stack up against each other? It's just you kind of selling a different type of product on each, or do you find one is kind of massively more profitable on a unit basis than the other?
Amazon to me is a bigger company. It is that way very much for us. We're selling the branded products, we're selling the new inventory that's retail packaged and boxed on Amazon. eBay is kind of more of that, selling the product that maybe got damaged at Amazon and came back to us.
Right.
So very much so, Amazon's a bigger channel for me. Fees, eBay is a little bit cheaper for the for the company. Overall, Amazon's a little bit more expensive, but you also get a little bit more out of Amazon. Amazon has a bigger network of customers, but they're very different in that sense.
Yeah. So they kind of work well together. They kind of serve different purposes, I guess. Great. Well, I'm conscious of time now. If anybody has got any other questions, please do post them. I think we've got about 5 minutes left. So while you're thinking about that, maybe Justin, you want to sum up kind of what you think the biggest benefit has been for Giantnerd selling online?
Gosh, just a wider range of customer acquisition. I can only hit so many people locally, but I can hit a lot more people when I, put a bike on the internet and then, have them call in and I can ship it to them. It is that pretty much plain and simple. You can reach more customers.
Got it. Great. Well, I don't see any more questions from our audience, so I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks very much, Justin, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Some really good insight. If anybody has follow-up questions, then please feel free to send them over to us at hello@brightpearl.com, and we'll make sure that Justin is able to answer them for you. You can also follow us at Brightpearl HQ on Twitter, and we hope that's been of value, and we very much hope to see you again at a future Brightpearl webinar. But for now, thank you, Justin, and thanks everybody for joining.
Awesome. Thank you very much, James.